JCB Triumph Hurdle is a terrific race for youngsters on the Friday. Rich, you are a man who is a key player in this race. Are you, with Selma one of the biggest eye catchers from the DRF, are you likely to win the Triumph Hurdle, do you feel?
Well, it's an interesting race, and again, a little of what happens. So this year, I normally buy 1 or 2 3-year-olds. I normally don't buy more than that. This year, I bought 5. Part of it because it's getting harder to assess some of the point-to-point talent because they're geared up, and Davy would have a view, they're geared up to win these races and they turn out not to be so good. But we bought 5. I've got one that won't run. I'm going to save him. I had a horse called Manita, who was lovely, who finished behind a horse called Malaga, who's done very well in this country. JP owns it, who died, unfortunately. And I've got 3 left. I've got Selma de Vassy, as you said, or Selma de Vary, sorry. I've got Charme de Faust, and I've got Madness Dell. They're all entered in the Triumph and the Fred Winter, and both Charme de Faust and Selma are entered in the Mare's Novice. My prior is to not, or American expression, sorry, my preference is to not take each other on in the Triumph. So we're debating now who's best suited to what. The highest rate of them is, as you pointed out, is Selma. She's rated 138. Madness Dell is 133. Charme de Faust, does she have a rating? What did they give her? 133 as well?
Let me look. I'll look.
I think they did. Look, the challenge is that on the new course, it's more of a stamina sapping trip. The challenge you have is that they're both run over the same distance on the same day, and the Fred Winter is run on the old course on the Tuesday. We'll split them up. At the moment, the most likely, and this is subject to change, but the most likely is Madness Dell will run in the Fred Winter. Selma will run in the Triumph, given her performance at Dublin Racing Festival, which I can talk about more if you want to know. And Charme de Faust would run in the Mare's Novice, where a 4-year-old has never won, by the way, but she gets 10 pounds, which is a big weight difference.
Just while we're on the Triumph, because I think people would like to hear a bit more, the gist from Willie Mullins appears to be that this filly will have improved a bundle for that run.
Yeah, she would have. It was a very sharp and quick preparation. So just so you know, I normally buy my fillies or my horses, not just fillies, in France between now and July. And then Willie can get them, let them down for a bit, and then bring them up in the way he normally trains them. She came to us in November, I think. So she'll have been trained by somebody else, and Ben might have a view. She'll have been trained by somebody else. She'll have been, we don't know how much work she did. I mean, in Woody's yard, you can see, when they're coming through, she's done this many too big, she did this fast work, you didn't know. So we kind of left her alone. And like most French fillies, or French horses, she was quite sharp, gave her some time. She wasn't clearly needed that run at the Dublin Racing Festival. What she did, as Woody said himself in the article in the Sporting Life, between the home turn and the second last was incredible. And Paul said, I thought she was going to win. And Paul said, I asked her for one of the second last. She took a deep breath and she took a big blow afterwards. So you've got to be comfortable with that. But I think she is a sharp filly. That's the challenge. That course takes getting on the Friday. So we'll see what happens, but we're going to split them up as my prior. Now, that being said, we could run 2 in the Triumph, but I'd like to try and win the Mare's Novice. I think Bambino Fever is a very, very fine horse, but having to give one of those 2 10 pounds would be a challenge, I think.
Okay. Selma's around 7-2 for the Triumph. Charme de Faust is around 10-1, and to be honest, the other one is any price you like, around 33-1.
Madness Dell, I think, is probably most likely, as I said, for the Fred Winter.
Okay, and just in a word, which this is a horse you really like, Varia. Varia is a good horse.
Selma, Goliath de Burle, who David will talk about the sire, is the sire of the moment. She ran brilliantly, recommended highly from a trainer I buy from a lot. And she was bloody Jesus expensive. So hopefully she's good.
How much was she?
I'm not going to say, but she was expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
For what it's worth, Ruby Walsh is talking about her as being a future champion hurdler.
Okay. All mares.
I think she's next year's horse, no matter what. She needs to fill in. To Lydia's point, I think she is next year's horse, but hopefully she nicks the triumph in the meantime.
Okay. Will she be in cheap pieces in the champion hurdle or not?
Forget about it. I'd rather in the Fred Windsor because she is sharp.
Davy, you got a mention there by Rich about the pedigree. Is this a horse on paper who should have cost a lot of money?
Not necessarily on paper, but that's the beauty of Rich Ricci. He goes to have a look. He can see it, whereas I have to look, or people like me have to look at what potentially is there. Whereas Rich will look visually and see them run. So he bought her on her performance in when she was second in Otay, but her breeding would suggest that to me, and it's a game of, it's like a fashion show. Some people like him, some people don't, but she's by Goliath de Burle out of a Monteau mare, so it's all style. For me, there'll be a lot of style in that filly, and obviously her physique must be good. It's just, it ticks a lot of boxes anyway.
Anything grab our panel in the Triumph outside of Rich's horse?
It's a very good Triumph, by the way. It's the best in years, I think.
Wide open.
The Skeltons have begun to be very positive.
If Manella's study was trained by a trainer, Adam Nichols, a really decent fella, he knows the time of day. He's won 3 from 3. I firmly believe this is a player, and I think if it was trained by a well-known trainer, it would be favourite, if I'm honest. Its form at Cheltenham last time was very, very good. Skeltons do seem really keen on Maestro Conti. I think Dan's got a lot of very good horses to run this year. He's stood out from the pack in the British trainers this year, and he's making a real good fight of it. And he's a good friend, but obviously a competitor, and we've got to aim at something. But he's very sweet on Maestro Conti as well.
Okay, the Albert Bartlett is tricky. We're not absolutely sure who will run. I think the Devil You Know is going to be banging the mix as a solid stayer already. Again, this race, any horse in here that someone wants to mention? Ben, you've got a horse in here.
I genuinely think I'll go very, very close.
You told me you were going to win.
Yeah. There's a horse called Mondui Boy that has only run twice for me. He didn't run his first run.
25 to 1.
Yeah, for me until the 15th of January. So, Mondui Boy. And I bought him out of the David Maxwell dispersal sale. He's a great big raw horse. I didn't know how much had been done. He wouldn't be one you want to rush. He was grand at Ludlow. You couldn't see half the race because it was in the fog. He went to Ascot. If you take the form literally, he ran to a very good level, because there were some highly rated novices in there. I don't think it was necessarily the greatest novice there's been, but the way he won the race, to me, was very good. And all I will tell you is I've never known a horse come out of a race quite like this. He is literally firing on all the cylinders. He's come in his coat completely. He looks insane, and I'm now very sweet on him. I really am very sweet on him.
Hurrah! 140,000 Mondui Boy, and he was impressive the other day. And ladies and gentlemen, the Supreme Commander would like to come in.
Can I just throw into a big price that I think will run well? One is Clint Madrick, who chased home no drama this end in the Challow Hurdle. I think this is the trip that he wants. I think it's potential that he's just a very sort of raw horse and he's not able to deal with it, but raw horses repeatedly win this race. I think he'll take a good step forward for the Steppenham trip. And the other one is King's Bucks of Henry de Bromhead's, who has got some course form, and I can see him, this race, particularly the way it's run, really suiting him. So those are two at around about 20 to 1 and 25 to 1, and I think they've got good chances.
Thank you, Lydia. Right, the big race of the week technically is the Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup. There is one member of the panel who has won the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and I want to go to him first, which might seem strange when we've got Jukebox Man, etc., but Davy, you've experienced it. For you, is this, I mean, you've won Grand Nationals, but is this the ultimate prize in the world of national hunt?
It is the golden egg, really. Like, you know, it's the tip top. Look, you hear about Gold Cups, but until you ride in one and experience it, it's some race. Like, they will go quick for a long, long way and quicken again and quicken again. You need an exceptional horse. You need a horse to tick an awful lot of boxes to win a Gold Cup, and I was just fortunate enough to find one of them.
Well, yeah, and a very odd one as well.
Yeah, very odd one, yeah.
Lord Windermere kind of shows you that anything can win the Gold Cup.
Yeah,
Once.
yeah, but I suppose
one bad race.
Pardon?
Lord Windermere, one bad race. I was talking. Matt was saying,
Yeah.
you can't.
But he'd won a Sun Alliance, and
had?
he'd been very competitive in them senior chases all the way through. So I think that, I don't know, that maybe might have been exaggerated by the way he was ridden. But at the same time, he won, and he was very good, and it's just an unbelievable feeling. It was different because there was a Stewart's inquiry and things like that, and but at the same time, it was unbelievable to win a Gold Cup. It really was a thing of dreams.
Who do you think will win it this time?
I think it'll be an English horse. I think it'll come from the.
Good if you've turned up in green.
It'll come from the King George, and I just have Django Boy in the back of my head. I just have it in the back of my head that he was the finisher. He was ticking a lot of boxes for me. I didn't realise, but Ben's horse is unbeaten over fences, which is an unbelievable feat, and he keeps winning. And again, it's a habit that I like with horses. Horses that just keep winning. But I just feel that Django Boy for me was aiming towards March, you know.
Okay. The Arkle winner from last year hung out wide in the King George, ran on strongly after the final fence, but he didn't catch the Red Nat Ben Pauling machine that is the jukebox man. Why, Ben, will you confirm the King George form?
My thoughts on the King George is that going into the race, it was supposed to be the best King George there'd been for many years. As soon as they crossed the line, everyone was delighted with the way the race panned out. It was a great finish. It was a fabulous race, but straight away, pundits, critics, whatever you want to call them, said that it was slow early doors. It was actually a track record, so it can't have been that slow. And I think it's the strongest King George before the King George, and I think it'll be the strongest King George. And I do honestly believe, if you look at the head of the market, the three horses that contested the finish at the top of the market, and it would be daft of me to sit here and say that it's a foregone conclusion and my horse is going to win or the rest of it, because this is the best Gold Cup there's been for so many years. And I keep asking myself, is that because they're just a bunch of average horses or horses that just aren't quite exceptional? Or is it because we've just got a plethora, finally, of proper 3 mile staying chasers? And that's what I firmly believe it is. So we all know this race, Davy, you'll confirm it, it's all about rhythm. It's all about jumping, it's about rhythm, and it's about kicking off the final bend and having enough to go away. And I know the way you're thinking, went and floored Galopin de Champs last year when people didn't think that was possible.
Yeah.
He's been an absolute missing entity all season. Suddenly he's being backed into 7s, 8 to 1, whatever it is. I think there's 7 or 8 you can rule in. All I can tell you is that our lad is bulletproof. He jumps, he travels, and I swear on my life, he will relish the extra distance. Those people that think he's a Kempton specialist,
Even though he got picked up in the Albert Bartlett.
just forget that. It was 2 years ago. He was out in front for the whole race. He kicked for home plenty early enough, considering he wasn't uncontested, and then he sat at the horse missed the last, let's put it that way, and he lost all his rhythm, and he was lonely and he got nobbled. That's fine. He's a totally different horse. I've absolute faith in the horse, but I don't believe it's an easy assignment. But I wouldn't change him.
So I've got an open mind about whether or not he'll be as effective at Cheltenham. Totally open mind. I can see your reading of the Albert Bartlett. I do have a question mark about whether flat tracks might suit him best. Equally, I could see that would be completely wrong. I'm not suggesting he's a Kempton specialist. I just wondered whether his way of going, whether that is, it sounds like it's not a concern in your head at all.
No, because jumping 3 out in the King George, I thought we won by 3. Mm-hmm. I honestly thought we'd win by 3. Ben Jones came back and said he felt like he needed the King George. He took a blow after the third last, and jumping the last, I'd already resigned the fact we were going to finish 4th. And to get back in front from the back of the last at in the King George against horses like Gaelic Warrior, like Banbridge, who's a specialist ready for that day, I think that was incredible. I honestly, if he'd finished 4th, I'd still fancy him for the Gold Cup. In my head, he's never been a fast horse at home. He's obviously a different horse on the track, and there's no question mark in my head over the trip. Mm-hmm. But hearing Davy, I've never had a runner in a Gold Cup. Okay, so it'd be fortune's luck if I went and succeeded on my first go. I'd be relieved. But listening to Davy talk about riding in a Gold Cup, the speed they go, the time they're expected, how much you're travelling for basically 3 miles at 32 mile an hour.
Oh, full tilt, yeah.
Full tilt, and then
you mightn't read it on the clock and the screen, but different parts of the race, you just don't get a chance to fill. There's no fill. There's no wait. There's no sit quiet, like. Caught Star won Tingle Creeks and over 2 miles, and all them horses were capable of winning over 2 miles, and they still were off the bridle. You know what I mean? We're shoving the coal on from a long way out. So it'll just tell you you can have your Queen Mother chases and your champion hurdles and all that, but the Gold Cup is especially a Gold Cup like this. We've all last couple of years we haven't had real tough, real depth to the races. This year the Gold Cup has so much depth. Like Rich's horse, I love him. I think he's got everything. He's bang there. Django Boy is bang there. Your horse, Galloping the Champs, is the reigning champion, and we'll dismiss him as small because he's not good enough. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's good enough.
Former champion.
Former champion. Sorry, yeah, and then you're looking at last year's winner and the effect. Yeah, if he has enough class, if he has that little bit of early class, he definitely has the stamina. So there's so many horses in it. None of them would shock me if they won it, and I do feel it could be a Lord Windermere Gold Cup that there could be 6, 4, 5 horses coming down the hill.
I know we don't want to go on for hours, but the class angle for me is more important than the stamina. Because you say, Haiti Klur, he has the stamina, but if he doesn't have the class, it doesn't matter that he has the stamina. So
ridden the way he's going to be ridden, he's going to be on the front end, isn't he?
It's irrelevant, really.
Do you not think if you're the Dallas Stayer, the second you're beat?
I don't think he'll hold his position.
No, that's that.
But he did in the Irish National. He freewheeled a bit
Irish
like
National's
Gaelic
a
Warriors.
It's a handicap.
A handicap, and he was a novice.
He was
on the way
obviously
up.
wrong in the Betfair, but he didn't go a flipping yard.
Okay. And do we just give up on Galloping de Champs?
No, I don't think we do.
You do. He's had his time. No, I don't mean it like that. I just mean that there's a new bunch there. There's just new horses.
It is possible. I mean, it's possible that he won't win.
Like he's a credit. Like what a horse to come back and do it. He's done even run well and even come back again. Like last year's winner couldn't do that. So I'm not dismissing the horse, but I'm just saying the race itself. I feel Rich's horse will be the number one. Mullins' horse. I know I can understand Paul's predicament. It'd be very hard to get off him.
He won't get off Galloping.
I know what I'd do.
But you caught the commander out there, because she's used to Ruby going, yes, commander, yes, commander, yes, commander. And then she's had some challenge.
He said no several times this evening. You haven't been listening.
I don't disagree. I'm not shooting you. Your point is very valid, and I wouldn't.
I haven't made it yet.
I wouldn't.
I think we need to bring Rich in because
he's
if I'm honest,
dozing off.
I'm not just saying this because he's here. My biggest concern is your horse, because before the King George, you went 1 million, he was on one of those runaway days, and he looked like he was dead in the water, and he still found a way to get up. And I think
That was a phenomenal race.
That
It
was
was,
unbelievable. And I think that's the best form this year, England or Ireland. That's what I firmly believe. And I think we were beneficiaries of that, if I'm honest, in the King George, because they probably had a harder race than they needed to. So you've been to the DRF. We all know that Leopardstown doesn't suit your horse.
My horse hates Leopardstown, yeah.
So that makes me question the Leopardstown form, because if Rich's horse finished second, that was by far his best performance, because he's a lot better elsewhere.
Yeah. Look, he's a fine, thank you very much for that. He's a fine horse. And the challenge is, and I'm going to be very frank, you have an amateur riding. I love Patrick. He's ridden lots of horses for me, but he's an amateur. Davy will have a definite view. I have no problem with Patrick riding it, but, you know, he's not a professional. He doesn't ride as many races as the other guys, that sort of thing. But the horse is very talented, and I go back to Aintree, where he gave the horse an incredible ride after a very difficult season on ground that he wouldn't have cherished, and he gave it a great ride. So, look, I would love to win the Gold Cup, and I'm desperate to win the Gold Cup, as most people know. So let's see what happens, but I think it's an incredible race. It's the best quality race in a good number of years, 100%.
It's certainly the biggest strength in depth for a good number of
Yeah,
years.
agreed.
It's
Absolutely.
a fantastic renewal. It's got everything you want. The last two winners, the youngsters coming through, some roughies that could easily run well at big prices.
Exactly.
It's a Gold Cup for the
Matt.
ages, and we haven't even talked about the likes of Banbridge, also Grey
Banbridge,
Dawning.
yeah, good horse,
Matt,
yeah.
my dear, can I say anything about the Gold Cup? Is that allowed?
Yeah.
Who wants to hear from Lydia on the Gold Cup? Liars, lying.
They are lying. That's the hearing of the gods.
Go on,
yeah.
Lydia.
So, I mean, I think this is the deepest Gold Cup we've had for many years. It's not necessarily going to produce the best performance we've seen for many years. I mean, Galloping de Champs is one of the best,
Definitely.
consistently best horses that have been around. He's not Courteau Star, clearly, but in terms of the level that he ran to over a very long period of time, he was a tremendous horse. Now, he wasn't at his best last year. You saw that from jump number 2. He wasn't ever travelling. He was ballooning. I think that this season he's had a setback on the way to the Savills Chase. They said that he came out of the Savills Chase and basically did too much and had a reaction to it. Didn't run as well in the Irish Gold Cup. I think the key to this horse running to a very high level, which makes him competitive, I'm not saying he's going to win, is first-time cheek pieces. I argued this from the last November. I think they'll put first-time cheek pieces on him, and I think he'll be a tough nut to crack and shouldn't be dismissed in that scenario. However, immediately after the DRF, he was 10-1. Now he's best price 15-2. I give the Jukebox Man a huge chance. He's a great jumper. I do have a concern. I did have a concern about the flat tracks. That remains in my mind. You know, I'm prepared to believe that I'm completely wrong about that, but I think he's got a huge chance. Hugely talented. I love the way he jumps. I love the way he managed to wrest that race away from the rivals from the last fence. I thought that was fantastic. I can give Django Bai a huge chance. I think he was being pushed out to his left a little bit by the Duke's Watts Man in the straight, and he was never quite. He was always in position C, and I can see him staying as well. I can see Gaelic Warrior. I think that he will improve for Teppan Trip. My worry about Gaelic Warrior is, you said it, Davy, he can have a good day and a bad day in terms of settling.
100%.
If he has a bad day in terms of settling, then he is cooked in a race of this quality. So, I mean, if you're into in running, you might want to have a look at that. Maybe you can bury him. That's what they did in the Arkle, and it worked. I can't have Haiti Colour. I don't think it's good enough. I can't have I Know the Way You're Thinking. I know this is anathema, but use your eyes, not your ears. I mean, look at what he's done all last season. Last season, he got steadily better.
Yeah.
The last time we saw him, he
steadily worse.
emptied 2 strides from the last, and he ended up on the floor, and everybody's worried, is he ever going to get up from that? Thankfully, he did. And there's a lot of yakety yak about him having been better. I know that on the circuit like us, that we're all on the festival previews, that somebody has mentioned that he's had a cortisone injection in his back. I pass that on just so that you are aware that that is what people are talking about.
That could be helpful.
I've no idea whether it's true or false, but that is presumably connected
Doesn't
to
change
the...
a horse
Yeah,
that much.
but it's presumably connected to the fact he's been backed, isn't it? People thinking, okay, I don't think he needed to be as... I think he's been overrated for his win last year. I don't think Galopin de Champs was at his best. I can't have Grey Dawning either. So I think it's a really competitive race.
And who wins,
between
Commander?
I know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
You asked for her. I gave you the chance to dismiss her.
So,
and
I
you
tell
said,
what,
no, bring her on.
I tell
And
you
now
what,
you're booing.
I tell you what,
You've
at the
only got
moment-
yourselves to blame.
At the moment, Tater Colour, and I know the way you're thinking, are to some degree making this market up the front. I think this is a race that you need to make your mind up a little bit nearer the time, because there are two horses there that I think have got no chance whatsoever, and they're currently at much shorter prices than they will be on the day. Things are going to shorten, things are going to lengthen. Back your view now. I think if you are with certain horses that you think are going to get shorter.
Okay,
I
just
think his will get shorter.
Finally,
and I think that Django Bay will get shorter.
Finally, because I'm going to push you here. If you forgot about prices, which you might say is sacrosanct, but if you just forget them, which is the horse you think will win the Gold Cup? Just the name.
I'm going to go with Django Bay.
Django Bay. Rich Ricci, Gaelic Warrior.
If the Warrior runs, he wins.
Okay. The problem is Ben thinks the jukebox man. Davy.
Django Boy, or if you want to be sitting the fence to King George.
I'd love Django to win it for Tony
fine.
Barney. He'd definitely be a selection of mine, but I'm going to go with Galopin. I just think I think he'll go off favourite, Galopin de Champs.
He won't go.
Oh, not a chance.
I think he will.
Not a chance.
I'll be very confident.